an audio check for anyone who is online. If you could just check in and let me know that you have sound, you're able to hear us.
Yes, we are, or we can.
Okay, great. And give me just a second, Brandon, to pull up the agenda for folks that are online. Can the folks online see the agenda? You actually have it in your package. If you can't see it, I know the folks here in the room, I'm putting it up on the screen, so. If you click on the invitation, if you are participating online, you will have the agenda in your email with the invitation. Chair, I'm gonna turn it over to you, sir.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm your Vice Chair, Brian Brown. Unfortunately, our Chair, Jimmy Russo, is on personal leave at the moment. He's handling some personal items. And our training task force rep is also has a medical issue that he's dealing with. So you're gonna be stuck with me and only me today. So without further ado, welcome everybody to the LEPC quarterly meeting. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brief moment of silence for everyone who's paid the ultimate price. Thank you. All right, we'll begin with roll call. So as I mentioned earlier, my name is Brian Brown. I am your LEPC Vice Chair, and we'll go around the room and then we'll make sure we tag in with everybody that's online. We'll start on my left.
David Guernsey, Special Operations Coordinator, City of Hollywood. Sergio Lambo, Hialeah Fire Department, Hazmat Coordinator.
Laura Winus, Emergency Management Specialist, Coast Guard Sector Miami.
Fredo Vasquez, Emergency Responder, Florida Department of Battle Protection.
Joseph Luna, Emergency Responder, Florida Department of Environmental Protection.
Good morning, everybody. Bill Senishin, Florida Department of Health, the now Regional Readiness Coordinator. Handing it off to a colleague that's with today. He's probably trying to find a place, but I'm up in Region 8.
And I'm your LEPC Coordinator, Sharon Burke.
Gabriel Zahora, Emergency Management Team.
Eduardo Koenig, Broward County Environmental Permitting Division.
Jason Espinosa, I'm a Facility Maintenance Manager at Lineage Logistics.
Carlos Silva, QA Manager for the fourth facility of Lineage Logistics, which is ammonia facility and a 449 facility.
Good morning, Duran Ramkasoon. I am the Divisional Safety Coordinator for Water and Food Services.
Good morning, Angelo Ganguza, Training Captain for Hollywood Fire Rescue.
And our members online.
Keith Weston, Miami-Dade County Office of Safety.
Good morning, everyone. John James, Coordinator for the Healthcare Emergency Response Coalition in Palm Beach County.
Vince Kelson with Monroe County.
Sorry.
This is Ali Yonis with Broward County EPD.
Good morning, Marvin Ebanks, Miami-Dade County Water and Sewer Safety Supervisor.
Good morning, Lakeisha Brown, Division Chief, Miami-Dade Water and Sewer.
Morning, it's Crystal Schaefer with FDOT Emergency Management.
Mark Moore, Associate Vice President, Safety Security Emergency Management, Broward College.
Did we get everybody online? Anybody else?
For those who haven't chimed in, it's okay. We actually have you recorded. It's automatic through the Zoom option. So I see Elaine, George, and Ali. So I think we're good to go, sir.
All right, and the two gentlemen that just came in, if you'd like to introduce yourselves, welcome.
Good morning, Tom Griffiths. I'm the CBRN Coordinator for Miami-Dade County Emergency Management.
Derek Charleston, Florida Department of Health, the Regional Rate Coordinator.
And there she is, right on time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Please introduce yourself.
Natasha Strickland, Memorial Healthcare System, Ready's TF Back.
Back to Tasha. All right, did we get everybody? All right, we do have a quorum. Welcome back, everyone. And on that note, I'll need a motion to accept the minutes from the November 20th meeting. Anybody care to make a motion to accept the minutes? All right, Mrs. Zahora, and a second for anyone?
Second.
All right, Natasha, second. Thank you very much. Any opposed, any opposition? All right, motion carries. And moving on. All right, so item number 5 on the agenda is membership changes. All right, there are a few minor changes. Feel free to take a look at that. If you are those concerned individuals, please make sure that that information is accurate. And if any adjustments need to be made, please see Charlene. She'll be able to handle that for you. And on to the next thing. Do we have our favorite princess online today? Miss Shannon. All right, so for those of you who are weren't here on the last meeting or two, or quick refresher, Shannon is a technical writer, and she's been helping us with our hazardous materials emergency response plan. She's done an extensive amount of technical writing work for us to make that document usable. It was accepted into the FEMA National Emergency Planning exercise program, and so we are moving forward with testing that plan. And Shannon was going to give us a brief update on some of the additional work she's done since the last meeting.
Looks like she popped off. I don't know that she's on right now. We might have to come back to her.
Can you hear me?
There she is.
Okay,
I'm here. I've been here.
very good.
Can you-
Sorry, Shannon, on this. It must be around a separate screen. I apologize.
That's okay.
Good
Can
morning.
anyone see me?
Morning. As always, thank you for your technical expertise. You do this a lot better than I definitely could. So bust out your chainsaw and let us know where you're at.
Okay, sure. Audio check. Am I good to go?
Ready to go.
Testing. Okay. So I prepared a quick PowerPoint. I just sent a request to share my screen. I won't take up everyone's time. At this point, I feel like a majority of you are familiar with the HMERP. So last year to start, okay, great. Just bear with me. Can everyone see this?
Looking good, Shannon.
Okay, so no chainsaw today. Instead, I found another GIF that represents the state of where I'm at with this plan. So as you know, last year, just to recap, I did an extensive overview and reconstruction of the plan. It went from 219 pages down to approximately 45 at the moment, but key updates from January, the start of this year till now. Refine has been the topic of discussion between Ms. Charlene and I. So once looking at this document again with fresh eyes, fresh new year, there is opportunities for paragraphs to be converted into visuals, which would significantly reduce our page count even more. So as I mentioned, the 2024 HMERP is currently approximately 45 pages as of June of last year. But Ms. Charlene and I have been talking about incorporating graphical elements. This could be GIS maps, graphs, charts, etc., to refine this 2025 iteration even more. And just to note that the 60-page caps will still apply. So this plan will not exceed 60 pages whatsoever. But the ultimate goal is to condense the content even further. The rationale being that a picture can convey 1 million words. And so I'm taking that to heart with this plan. And so putting myself in your shoes, if you needed to find information within 15 minutes, I mean, you can't scroll through, or you can't even use the 219-page plan. However, visuals help. So that way, if it's properly integrated, then being able to take a paragraph worth of information and convert it into something like what I have here would be very helpful as either a first responder or a facility owner trying to locate critical information that they need. Annexes is something that I want to talk about. There's a lot of information attached to this plan. Annexes do not count towards the 60-page cap. However, they are going to be attached to the end of this document, and they can break off as standalone individual documents if needed, but they will be included in the plan. So if you do get a plan and the page count is over 60, chances are it's because of the annexes. There is a new aspect to consider. So this plan, I'm very proud and appreciative that FEMA's National Exercise Program has selected this plan for usability testing. So that throws in a whole other part of technical writing that you have to account for when something is getting prepared for usability testing. So I was able to listen in on the initial planning meeting. And so 5 core capabilities have to be addressed at some point in this plan alongside the inclusion of adjacent documents. I know I've seen a couple of comprehensive emergency management plans flow through my email. So those will be most likely a sentence saying, this is the plan for this county or this city, and there's a hyperlink to it, because it all boils down to efficiency and reducing that page count as much as we can for every section of the plan. This plan also must remain HMEP compliant, which I believe is the grant for the HMERP. Therefore, this document is becoming very multifaceted and dynamic. So there are a lot of moving parts as we progress through the NEP process. And so I can assure everyone in the room that I'm taking great care with this plan, and I'm following all of the requirements that need to be reflected in the content of this plan. And another thing that I'm looking into is adopting a simplified language. Now, I have cleaned up the language from the 2023 into 2024 version. However, if there's a way that I can condense this written content even more and be able to convey critical information to first responders, facility owners, or users of this document in as little words as possible, that is the goal. And if you look to the left, there is an example that I've taken from the 2024 plan that I worked on. There's a lot of information here. It's an on-scene framework that can easily be converted into something that's easier to look at, and that would reduce about half a page in the plan. So moving forward from now until approximately March, April, that is my intent with this HMERP. So those are the key updates. I'm sure most of you are familiar. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to email me, contact me. And there is one more slide that I would like to present, and it is a very personal slide. I would just want to say thank you to everyone that nominated me for the Thomas Yatabe Award. I don't even know where to start. I'm sure you'll have a copy of these slides. There is an open letter that I wrote to everyone in the room that you can feel free to read it now, or feel free to read it when you do get the slides. To condense what I've written, thank you so much. I'm still in a state of shock and awe that little old me, Miss Princess over here, got the Thomas Yatabe Award. This is something that you can't really get from just academia alone. So there's something that I wrote at the end that I just want to reiterate. Thank you, everyone, for taking a chance on me, for allowing me to get this real world experience, and for being able to take me under your wings and train me how to fly, pun intended, because I work for Boeing. But thank you so much for being a mentor. And the folks that I met at the Hazmat Symposium this year, I'm sorry you had to see me caffeinated. If you did see me caffeinated, Chief Brown knows exactly what I'm talking about. But just thank you. I'm at a loss of words. And in fact, I'm in Georgia right now today as we speak. My certificate's with me, but there's a big old C-17 that's in front of it that's keeping it from falling over at the moment. Otherwise I would have brought it in to show, but it's here. It got here safely. So that's pretty much the gist of everything that I've been working on for the HMERP. Just know that I'm continuing to work on it, continuing to make it as effective as possible. And so that's it for me.
Thank you, Shannon. And through the chair, if I may. Yes. So the plan on an annual basis goes out to some of our key stakeholders, Claudia, Natasha, FDAPS, William received it. So a lot of our stakeholders, all the county emergency management offices receive it. So when that goes out, as Shannon said, it'll go out in April. That needs to be reviewed. In that review document, I will be reviewing that document as well before it goes out. So I'm gonna add my own comments. You'll receive it in track changes. Everyone will be working on the same document so that the comments are all in a single document. The state will love us for that. Rather than sending all kinds of crazy versions, we use one single version. So this is the opportunity to chime in. If you have any concerns or you need to make modifications, sometimes, you know, there are staff changes, you've got to update the record, et cetera, but that will be coming out to you. Shannon and I will continue to work on that with my leadership team on the backside, so the updated version. And so that will come back to the LEPC for a final review and a sign off on that. So just know it'll go out, it'll get reviewed, it'll get commented, we'll have the track changes version. Once it's okay, then we'll send that up to the state with the clean version. So, and then the State Emergency Response Commission gives the final approval on that. And I just wanted to say, welcome to Pete Schechter and welcome to Claudia Baker. That will give the floor back to you, sir. Let me change this back and then
Thank you, Charlene, and thank you, Shannon, for your professional and technical expertise. Definitely couldn't have done it without you. All right, and moving on to the chair report. So training task force, unfortunately, our training task force rep is unable to be here with us today. But just to cover some of the TTF project boxes that we've been addressing, obviously the major project box was the Hazmat Symposium. We'll cover that in just a minute. But the State Hazmat Medic Protocol, the 2025 edition, is coming out. There are additional resources in item number 12 in your agenda package, if you care to take a look at that. The offshore hazmat pilot program is no longer a pilot program. It is now a proof of concept, and it's continuing on in North Florida, right? Yes, North Florida. So the South Florida region, or your region 10, obviously, the effort that we put in to kind of bridge that hazmat TRT component with offshore, with the help of the Coast Guard, was a great success, and it's caught the attention of the CERC, and they're moving forward with it in an aggressive way. So hats off to you guys for all the effort you put in on that. The Hazmat Symposium was obviously a big success. Chief Lamb is thrilled once again to have a packed house, a lot of great classes, and we'll try to get you some information for those who know. Is it in the agenda package as far as the numbers of attendees and international attendance and all that?
I think there might be something posted on the CERC website, but I think it was close to 700.
Yeah, long story short, another record-breaking year, and it was incredibly impressive. Some of the classes were very well received as usual, and Chief Lamb and his team do an incredible job. So if you haven't been to the symposium, I highly recommend it. It's definitely worth your while.
And our team was represented well in the training component, so we had a lot of our leadership team up there teaching.
Absolutely. Not only were we, a dominant presence in the state commission meetings, but also as instructors and coordinators as well. So hats off to you guys as well for that. The hazard analysis working group, we went over the top 5 chemical listings for the LEPCs. Tyler Nolan does a great job with all of that. And there was a few minor updates on the lithium ion battery symposium, as far as some of the work that the state fire marshal's office is doing, some of the research components, a little bit of a review of the demonstration burn they did with the soil sampling, the blood gas, the air gas, the bunker gear testing for all of the heavy metals and any kind of contaminants or runoff, and how these lithium ion fires on the larger scale are affecting not only your first responders, but the environment and all the other things that we're trying aggressively to figure out how we can mitigate for health and safety purposes. Chief Knopf has been elected as the chair of chairs for the LEPC. All right, he is the LEPC chair for North Central Florida, and he is now our chair of chairs. So when we go to our CERC commission meeting, he represents all of the 10 LEPCs to the state commission. Congratulations to him. He's if you don't know Chief Knopf, he's very highly regarded, and I think he's an excellent choice for that. I believe it was unanimous, if I remember correctly, rightfully so. Right. And as far as the CERC, we did give the Thomas Itabi Award to Miss Shannon on behalf of Region 10. And then we had the awards and certificates of appreciation ready to go. And we did issue a Lifetime Achievement Award in honor of Chief Michael Murphy. The approval of the LEPC emergency response plans for the hazardous materials were discussed, and that pretty much wraps up the very brief LEPC and CERC meetings from the Hazmat Symposium. Obviously, the Hazmat Symposium is going to be the dominant feature on last quarter. All right, moving on to item number 8. All right, the FDM Risk Management Program for Region 10, Miami-Dade County participation is encouraged. All right, that's going to be March 18th through the 20th down at the Miami U.S. Cold Storage. There's also going to be a large amount of support for an ethanol rail incident in Port Everglades coming up here. It's going to be in conjunction with some of our regional special operations team, including Hollywood, BSO, and Guernsey. You care to add a couple of details on what we can expect for the ethanol rail drill that we're running?
That's, we're looking at doing that taking place sometime next year, and that's gonna kind of correlate with what we're doing with, the anhydrous ammonia drill and air gas at Publix coming up here in the next month. So we're gonna actually take that, kind of run with it and build upon it, so.
Perfect. So one training exercise is going to lead up into a buildup for the next one.
Yeah, it happened on accident, but it's gonna work out.
It's going to work out very well. Chief Henbest has been incredible at helping us get that coordinated and inviting us into it. It is going to be limited to just the Broward County Special Operations teams, correct?
As of right now, yes, because it is in the port.
So exactly. So we're going to have limited access in Port Everglades, obviously. So what we'll do is we'll be sure to document that drill accordingly and bring it back to the LEPC and some of our other stakeholders. Peak WMD training is now available. All right, Peak WMD was one of the items that your LEPC approved as far as the funding purchase. Once again, Guernsey, you've been heavily invested in the Peak WMD software.
Yes, so Peak has been great. The whole region's using it as of now. We still have more training to come with it. They are offering free training on every Tuesday. We've been doing that, but we are trying to get Rebecca and her team down here to do something for the entire region. So probably looking at something for this summer and set aside a whole week and get everybody involved with that and really get everybody on the same page.
Would you mind, I talked briefly with some of the facility owners, operators about that. What would be the benefit of your having that information with regard to our facilities, which are at the heart of all we do?
With the Peak software is created. It incorporates numerous programs that we've used in the past. But it actually helps us identify the chemical, plot and plume it, select appropriate PPE that we put in with what we have, so make sure everything's compatible. You include tier 2 reports, so you can include a lot of information into it. So it's helping get everybody on the same playing field when it comes to that. So no matter who's responding, everybody can look at it. It's pulling all the data from the internet and stuff like that. So it's taking a lot of legwork out of it.
Yeah, and coming from a first responder perspective, as well as the LEP's perspective, looking at some of the other software organizations that we were considering, I think the biggest advantage is having both the tier 2 site data for our private facilities, as well as the plume model. Plume modeling was difficult. For example, our partners at Flow didn't quite have the plume modeling, although their software is incredible.
Right.
So having the combination of the tier 2 plus the plume modeling, I think is the real big advantage for that particular software.
Also being able to add our equipment into it to make sure everything was compatible was another side effect.
So hopefully, the rest of our stakeholders see the value in that purchase, with our funding, and we're going to continue to move forward with that in an aggressive way.
And that covers the region. So we, through the funding that we get from the state, that covers Broward all the way down to Monroe. So there are licenses where they're all set up with this. So everybody's on the same page. They're all communicating. Everybody's got the same information. So that's a benefit as well.
And speaking of Monroe County, back in November, we did take a visit down to Monroe County's EOC. Thank you for some of you guys who made the long trek down there. They have a beautiful, huge, brand new facility. So it was nice to get in there, see some of our neighbors down from Monroe County. And Doug LaValle, Chief Doug LaValle from Seminole Tribe, he did give his brief presentation on EV best practices. And then also Chief Russo and Chief Oscar Rodriguez, your TTF rep, delivered a more robust class at the Hazmat Symposium. So once again, your lithium ion and your electric vehicle response, both from the State Fire Marshal's Task Force and your training task force on the CERC side, they're really working well together and delivering a lot of information, gaining more best practices, and that program continues to evolve. Thank you, Chief LaValle, for delivering that information back in Monroe.
Through the chair, just for the folks that are here from Miami-Dade, so the LEPC is a regional body. We had no problem with taking this on the road. So
Absolutely.
for our Miami-Dade partners, if anyone has a facility and they want to host us in Miami-Dade, I mean, we've been to Monroe, we'll go back to Monroe. we can bounce around in Broward. So for our Miami-Dade folks that are listening online and that are here in the room, if you'd like to host the LEPC, please just reach out.
You know, if we have to hang out at South Beach or maybe catch a basketball game or something one day, just saying.
Sorry, good for, like, that's the question. On the peak software for the specialty teams, is that something that the EOC also has? So if we had a question on our side for the modeling, that we would be able to reach out through ESF8 and get that available for.
I think that was the goal moving forward. I think it just started in,
Yeah, we definitely started with this regional special operations teams, yeah, and then that software is available throughout the region, and I think it'd be a great addition to the EOC database and the EOC the toolkit.
They were not included in the purchase, but that is a resource that is available to them. So, and then all our teams, if that communication needs to happen, our teams will do that.
Absolutely.
Because selfishly, it's, you know, if something's coming at us, give us a call.
Absolutely.
Or if we can call ESF8 just so that we have that idea.
yeah, that was the goal moving forward. It was just, you know, that we had to get it in place because we needed something to do.
Okay.
And then obviously with the Broward EOC and some of the satellite EOCs that we have, for example, Hollywood being a satellite EOC, obviously we are going to be integrated into your EOC, you know, at that level if we do have an incident of that type, which means that not only do if we have the access, you have the access, and once again, that's why we're all here, right?
Follow up to her question, is there any provision for target hazard industry to buy into that? So that you also have it on site there, so that if you need forward operating posts, that they have the same materials or their response team does and can integrate with you once you arrive.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Charlene mentioned, that software is available for private industry. Obviously, the funding for the LEPC
Right,
was
there's gonna
limited
be
to
a
the
cost.
special operations teams, but it is available, and that coordination is obviously valuable.
The vendor is Aristatech, Aristatek, and we speak with Renee, and I believe it's pronounced Soriano, so. we
It
have
may be
that
worth
information.
pursuing that, because if you have target hazards, I'm not gonna mention anybody's names, but it just makes sense to have the same common operating platform.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a valuable resource for sure. And that coordination is second to none. All right, and Miss Charlene, pipeline safety trainings, are we skipping that item?
Yeah, that's fine. I went to that. I represented us. I brought back resources and they offered to do a training with our regional special ops, and that's already been facilitated and pushed out, and we'll see where that goes. So I spoke with Captain Giardo on that.
Perfect. And the last item for our training section, we did finally make up for lost time and hurricane delays and all the other items. We did finally host that Cliff Berry, the fuel tank truck incident over at the Broward Fire Academy. Captain Ganguza was one of the lead instructors over there for that. So I think we had 5 or 6 or 7 special operations
Yeah,
teams.
about 6 to 7 teams each of the 3 days that they participated in the training. As long as with multiple other entities and stakeholders throughout the state. Provided great hands-on training for the crews there where they were able to practice stabilization techniques, grounding and bonding, and hot tapping, which is drilling the tanker to prepare for to remove the product. Overall, it was great training and good hands-on experience and very informative.
Yeah, and not only that, we were able to attract some of the special operations teams from outside LEPC Region 10 too. So once again, the work that we're doing is it goes beyond just our Tri-County area. So thank you guys for setting that up. I think I heard great things. So hopefully it was a worthwhile training exercise. All right, moving on to the exercise component. The U.S. Coast Guard, Sector Miami, we do have Laura here. So do you care to give us a little update on?
Yeah, so we held our annual or our semi-annual area committee meeting, which is basically just to prepare for incidents of hazmat oil spills in the Sector Miami AOR. We're required to hold those twice a year. We've kind of gotten away from it a little bit post-COVID. We have some new people in who are a little bit more active. So we're just going to try to get some more active participation with the area committees. We held a little tabletop exercise with that. That's going to build to a full scale next year, which will be in Port Everglades and in worst case discharge with an oil tanker. So that's what we're moving to this summer. I think the next meeting will be in June, and with that, we're going to have a tabletop about marine firefighting. So we've got post the Roro in Jacksonville, and then the incident in Baltimore. the captain of the port has a big focus on marine firefighting and identifying where our gaps are. So we're kind of gonna focus a little bit on that moving forward. So you'll see more on that. But in the meantime, we have the next meeting in June. I don't know the exact date, and then we'll have a tabletop firefighting and then moving into the full scale in 2026.
Yeah, excellent. Really escalating to a large item. Thanks for giving us that update. Another update to an additional exercise. Obviously, we talked earlier about how your HMERP, the Emergency Response Plan, was accepted into the FEMA National Exercise Program. So we are coordinating a test of that document. We're going to put that document to the test in a full-scale tabletop exercise. And Natasha, we spoke with Clay. We met with Clay, and we're moving forward with that. We did have an initial meeting at the Hollywood EOC, and we discussed what the objectives, what certain injects we might want, and we started discussing how that should lay out as far as a tabletop exercise. To give you a brief overview, we're talking about the initial response, we're talking about the first 2 hours, we're talking about the long term, that 12 to 24-hour time frame, and how does that emergency response plan look for not only our responders but our facility owners. So we're going to be doing a tabletop exercise with FEMA, and the initial planning phase, ready to go. We set our objectives, we set our injects, we have a rough idea of 2 or 3 scenarios that we're working that we could potentially choose from. And then the follow-up meeting is tentatively planned for March 7th, where we're going to bring in some of the representatives from Broward EOC. I'm sure Ms. Natasha will be there with us, similar to the last exercise we did last year. And we're really going to start putting it to the test and getting that thing rolling. So you can see if Shannon's hard work pays off on that document, which I'm sure it will. Yes, sir.
Will there be any marine nexus to that? Because I know if there is, our IMD shop would love to get involved.
That is a great question. Do me a favor, email Charlene and myself, and we will see if we can work that in.
Yep.
I don't see why we can't make that happen.
Yeah, I know that they would love to participate.
Yeah,
for sure.
Excellent. All right, and the anhydrous ammonia drill with air gas public cold storage, Mr. Guernsey, that's definitely your wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's upcoming. We got a huge turnout for that. So that's our good problem we have now with all these drills and everything, with everybody being involved. We do have a lot of people showing up. But that turned into kind of an issue because we want to make sure that everybody gets the right amount of training. So we turned it into instead of just one drill per day, we split it in the morning and afternoon, so that way we can make sure that everybody gets enough times through and gets enough out of the drill. So right now we have all the Broward teams and everybody in Broward in the mornings, and then everybody from, I believe, Miami-Dade, Palm Beach County, and Martin County will be the afternoon.
Exactly, and if for those of you who are following along on the agenda, obviously we represent the LEPC for Region 10, which is Broward, Miami-Dade, Monroe. And the reason why you see Region 7 is that is Region 7 special operations on the fire side, which includes Palm Beach County. So although it transfers over into a different LEPC region, we try to marry up as much as possible because those are, in fact, the guys that we're working with on a regular basis. So, and the RDSTF are definitely going to be have a presence there as well.
And through the chair, if I may, just particularly for our facility owners and operators that are here. So public cold storage facility is a target hazard. They go through the RMP program, and I know Freddie Franks, one of our facilities actually has offered, I think has offered, so we get invitations, hey, come on down. So if you're in Miami-Dade, I'll connect you with the hazards analysis person down in Miami-Dade who will help to facilitate that. And then we have the contact at the state if it's under the RMP program. Essentially, the key point here is that we can't do this without our public sector. So Publix has been doing this for a while, and it's getting better every year, the iterations of it. And so we really brought in this year, the unique piece to it is we've got air gas is paying for everything, and it's expensive. So we don't have any of those costs that we have to put our funding dollars into. Our private sector has helped us with that. They're the vendor for that facility. Why wouldn't they? That's their perspective. It's good. It makes good business sense to be engaged. And their whole team, they're bringing in their entire safety team, their team, and they're going to work with the teams. They're gonna collaborate on this, and they're bringing equipment, everything. So that's one of the advantages. I just wanted to say, just for the private sector, you know, just get engaged, figure out a way to cooperate with us. And it's a really positive, constructive way that we can all help each other so that we can all go home at the end of the day, which is what we all want without incident. So, and thank you to Airgas for really stepping up for us, and our partners over at Publix have been an incredible support for us as well. And frankly, the folks up at TransCare up in DC, they helped us to bring all the right people to the table. So thank you to them as well. That's all. Thank you for that, Sharon.
It's incredible to see how it's transformed. Dave, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, it used to be, oh, there's 5 hazmat guys, they're gonna go learn about anhydrous, and they're doing like a hazwapper class there, and we might maybe shake hands with the safety guy, maybe, right? And now you look at, with the support of TransCare, with the support of the LEPC, how wide reaching and how informative this event is. And not only has it built partnerships, but really educated our responders and our facility owners too.
Derek and I, we work for the Florida Department of Health. We did reach out through Chief Nugent
Excellent.
and his Captain.
Virginia Gallardo?
Yeah, so they've been briefed on the caches of the chem packs within Region 10 and also Region 8. I attend the SLOPS meetings with Chief Gropa.
Yeah.
And the reason why, though it's Palm Beach and Broward, if there's an incident that happens on the border, they need to know where the caches are. So I've worked with them. They know exactly where the caches are. They're training on it. And then through the captain here in Broward, he partnered with Miami-Dade for tox medics for the trainings. So from a standpoint, if we did have a chemical incident, they're well versed. And with Chief Nugent's team, they do have their own chem pack cache now, because they generally respond primary or secondary to an incident here in Broward County, and also for Palm Beach coming into Broward or vice versa. So they've all been aware of where the caches are.
Excellent. Yeah, I remember you discussing that at the
Yes.
November meeting, and then it was also discussed at the Regional Special Operations meeting.
Yeah, we just had a regional special operations meeting, and we're going over to regionalize our toxmetic protocols and whatnot between all the teams and everything like that. And that came up to make sure we had a list of the cache of where everything was.
Yeah.
Right, so they have all that information.
Thank you very much. Definitely a valuable resource. All right, moving on to the coordinator's report. We discussed the hazmat symposium briefly. Ms. Charlene, would you care to add any additional information?
Sure, and if it's okay, I'm just gonna go over the resources and information exchange immediately after. Then we
Okay,
can
so we're gonna handle
bump back
item
up to
number 9
after
and
that.
number 12.
Yeah, please. So, as the chair said, we had a tremendously successful hazmat symposium. I just want to thank all the people that participated in that, and the state and PHMSA for the funding to make that happen. I hope that it was productive and meaningful, and for folks in the coming year, if you want to go and participate, it's just communication with us here at the LEPC, with the leadership team, or with myself, and we're happy to facilitate that. So reimbursements are 99% processed for that. So if anyone on board is listening that is due funds, you're in good shape. And for the next section, resources and information, I kind of changed, it said admin items, but I feel it's better that you all know that these are resources and information that are being exchanged. They're coming to us from PHMSA. They're coming to us from EPA. They're coming to us from the State Emergency Response Commission. They're coming from, we might get a white paper. I know Chief Russo shared a really good white paper with me one time that's relevant for everybody here. So this is news and information you can use, and the way it's set up, it's pretty obvious. If you see it and it looks like a hyperlink, it is. So whatever it says it is, you just click there and it'll take you to that document. And then for any other item that is not a hyperlink, for example, the Hazmat Medic State of Florida report, which was brought up at CERC, that item is attached in the agenda package, which you already have, that's popped into the invitation to the meeting today. So thank you. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. All right, so that concludes all the information that we have to deliver to you guys. Do we have any member comments?
I'll start. The Florida Department of Health has changed tactics effective February 1st. DOH officially moved to the 10 regions to align with the LEPCs and DEM.
Good.
We're still following the Regional Domestic Security Task Force regions at this time. I, as a Regional Emergency Response Advisor, RERA, are now Regional Readiness Coordinators. Tactics have changed here. Position is no longer on call, no after action, no after hour response. We will not receive State Watch Office notifications 24/7, which we historically have. We're no longer the primary Category A or Category B sample evidence collection personnel. If needed, we will only get actionable messages will be sent to us only if a high priority sample transport is needed and if an RRC is available to transport to one of the state labs. Once again, no after hour response to suspicious powder incidences, including transports to the BTL labs, Miami, Tampa, or Jacksonville. Whereas will be written out of response plans such as a response to suspicious substance instances, essential elements SOP, the state working group for domestic preparedness guideline response to suspicious powder incidents of essential elements, the BioWatch program, Florida Infectious Disease Transport Network. I'm now reassigned up to Region 8, Palm Beach, all the way up to Indian River. And I'd like to introduce my colleague, Derek Charleston, which will be your point of contact for Region 10, which is Broward, Miami-Dade, and Monroe County. Derek, if you want to introduce yourself of what we do.
Here we go.
Bill covered exactly from what we're getting, what we're getting pushed out for state office. My name is Derek Charleston, longtime professional worker here in South Florida. Started my career back in 1997, and been in the both law enforcement, emergency response business. Practiced all over the world. Abu Dhabi was my latest stop. Now here back in good old state of Florida, and continuing my efforts here with our state.
Welcome, Mr. Carlson. Happy to have you on board. A little bittersweet news here, right? We're losing one, gaining another. Happy to hear that your regions are aligning. You know, if it means that you're going to Region 8.
Well, I can tell you, if I can, Chair, interject.
Sure.
We're not losing. I always say gaining, because what we plan to do is cross pollinate this thing.
Right, I've been in this region for 38 years, so I know all the players and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna cut them bill for Ford and just let them hang.
Yeah.
Unless he buys me a nice lunch today, or if not, like I said,
May I make you a recommendation, Mr. Charles? So no, happy to hear that you guys are really taking a big step over there, right? And obviously, thank you for your 38 years of service to our region. You know, sorry that you're wearing the Region 8 tag nowadays, but I know that your heart still lies in Region 10. And so, what is your opinion on the no after hours notice? And do you think that's a positive for your organization or a negative?
That was told of us when we were in a meeting.
Understood. And say no more. I understand.
As far as after our responses, this is new tactics that they have. So I work with law enforcement, FBI, Homeland Security, white powder. This is the new tactics now, and hand it over to you guys.
There you go, Dave.
We briefed, what do you call it, pertaining to BioWatch, if we had a bar, with Captain Virginio, and he's well aware of what the new tactics are.
Excellent.
So you can reach out to him on that.
BioWatch comes to all the regional special ops meetings as well, where they're together. She's there with Captain Garrett.
Right, the tactics changed on that also.
All right, so I'll be sure to follow up with you guys at the next meeting. I appreciate that information. Any other member comments?
Hey, this is Crystal from FDOT. How are you guys? Hey, exciting stuff. We will not be changing our district, so we'll still be very confusing. I'm 6 in Miami and Monroe. You have 4 covering Broward and the rest of the region. So we'll always be like that. Uh, no, so I was just gonna say, like, if you guys ever need to host a meeting, we can absolutely do that for you guys. It might be easier since we're right off a turnpike by Dolphin Mall. Might be easy for the region. And like in the third quarter, like maybe this summer, we're actually renovating our EOC now. So we'll have a new EOC probably like around June 1st, but the whole renovation will be done probably sometime in August. So it might be exciting for everyone to be there. And then I wasn't sure if you guys were aware of the drone conference, FlowCon, when I was attending last month. Oh, wait, it might have been this month. Sometime this year, I attended this drone conference. They actually did a rapid railway drone response, which incorporated a hazmat scenario. So I wasn't sure if you guys were aware of that, or maybe that's something that you might want to coordinate with. I think FHP, like Sergeant Dooley, is really the lead on putting a lot of these trainings together. But I thought it was interesting how they incorporated a hazmat response into the training deck. So just a thought.
First, thank you very much for the information. Can we follow up with the visual, see if we can?
Yeah, we're working with them right now.
Excellent.
Crystal, thank you. Appreciate the offer. You're our first Miami-Dade offer, so liable to take you up on that. We love going into new EOCs. And the team, I'm not sure if you heard them, but they're gonna follow up on that. If you can send an email, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll send a follow-up email after the meeting.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Crystal. And let us know about the status of the EOC, when we, possibly, have our quarterly meeting down there.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited. I think the last time they rehabbed our EOC was like 20 years ago. So
Any other member comments?
Briefly, so I don't know if Amazon or Target are here, but just a thank you to them. They are sending plans to the hospitals. Their safety plans of the type of hazards that they have, so we can be more prepared. That being said, those are the only 2 that we've gotten.
Two big ones, but only 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Target has been really good, and Walmart in the past has been as well. So if there's others that we have the access to see kind of what might be coming at us, that would be great. The others on the Chem Pack, and I know, Bill, you've heard me say this over and over, and I've been campaigning pretty hard. The Chem Pack for the hospital side on the south end of the county is a little bit thinner than on the north end of the county, so we've been actively trying to get an additional Chem Pack. So I just keep saying it out loud, and if there's funding somewhere, hopefully we'll be able to add that to get more on the west side, to have some coverage.
To answer your response, there is no additional funding.
Yeah, I know.
You will not get another Chem Pack and that be done from state office.
Gonna keep trying. If anyone doesn't want theirs.
I mean, there's enough down here based on the allocation. So, I mean, you can ask, you're not gonna get it. I'm just being honest.
But I keep asking. And just to have it out there and understand that the hospital cash is for technically 1,000. However, if it's only on one side of the county, if something's happening in Miramar, having it in Hollywood isn't gonna be a whole lot out. So, but I got it, Bill. Thank you.
That's what they tell me. I mean, if I could, and then that's why I pre-positioned it from Palm Beach County down to the Keys. The Keys didn't have any Chem Packs, and I pushed for mid and south of Monroe County. They never had it. And then when it came to Chem Packs, there were some fire departments that had multiple caches. I released that and gave it to, let's say, Chief Nugent. He didn't have a cache, and he responds to every hazmat call. So it didn't make sense.
Thank you, Natasha and Bill. Yes, Ms. Baker.
Hi, 2 FDM updates. One being our website search track. So I'm sure a lot of you go on our website. That's how you find all the available training in our region. We have been for many years trying to update that website. I know a lot of you, if you go on it in the daytime, sometimes it's crashing, you can't get what you want, it says servers are down, yes, we know. So hopefully by next month, it will be a new system. So I just wanted to give you that heads up. We're moving away from certificates because that's what's really bogging down the website, and it's gonna be more like a transcript base. But for those that want their certificates needed for other associations and accreditations, my recommendations, if you have all your certificates now uploaded into SearchTrack, to download them and make sure that they're on your desktop somewhere, just in case when this switches over, we're kind of going to like a cloud-based, transcript-based, moving away from like hard copy certificates uploading. So that change should be happening shortly. We're currently beta testing it, so once we figure out all the bugs, it will go live. And then the next big thing, FDM last year started doing their own conference. So we had our first one last year in St. Augustine. We have our next one this year in Orlando. It's the week of June 9th. So June 9th through the 13th. The room block is already available on our website. If you just go to our website and go down to events, you'll find the room block. It's at the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress. Right now it's just room block available, and then eventually registration will come out in March and we'll get more details, and that touches on a whole lot of topics. A lot of lessons learned from the hurricane this year. They're really going to focus on the legal aspects of things, addressing some curriculum for your lawyers, for your agency, of what they need to be thinking about when it comes to an emergency, and you know what your policy should be like ahead of time, what gets in the way, what doesn't, things like that. So those are my 2 FDM updates.
Claudia, if I may, I was in a meeting up in South Jacksonville, and they talked about the new system. The recommendation was none of the certificates will
Transfer over, yeah.
transfer over. So if you have certificates, and like what Claudia said, that you need it for other classes, I would highly recommend you to download them, put them on your local C drive, because it's not going to be transferred over into the new system. That's not me saying, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
They told me to
So that's what I'm saying.
transfer it,
I
you
recommend,
remove it.
especially if you're in the EM world and you're trying to get
Yes.
your accreditation with FIFA, or you're trying to get some sort of accreditation, and sometimes they want to see those certificates, download them so you have them. But yeah, they're moving away from those certificates and going kind of just like a transcript sheet of like, you took 300 on this date, no PDF of your certificate.
All right. Bill, Claudia, thank you very much for the updates. Any other member comments?
Anybody online? Oh, there's you.
We do have one chat message. I don't know if that's relevant.
What is, who's the point of contact of the FEMA exercise?
I forget her name, but it was.
So, Amy, the person that we're working with, at FEMA, so they have consultants, so it's Deanne Sester and Courtney, can't forget her name, but, Alec Cobb is who is with FEMA. He's our primary, representative at FEMA, who's assisting us with the exercise. And more will come out next meeting. You'll hear more about it, get additional updates. We continue to make progress.
Excellent. Yes.
We have a mass rescue full-scale exercise. Was supposed to originally be in May. May, it got rescheduled for August 9th and 10th at Port of Miami. We're working with Port of Miami. Royal Caribbean is our new partner. Originally, it was Virgin, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. And then our District 7. So that exercise has grown a little bit. Originally, it was just gonna be a functional. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue wants to test 2 landing sites all over. And then parcel B, which is behind American Airlines Arena. And they're also doing, beach landings on Hallover, in the vicinity of Hallover or Sunny Isles. If you want to be involved, or if your organization should be involved, especially if you're down in Miami-Dade, let me know, because I know there's a few agencies that have fallen through the cracks who haven't gotten notified yet. But we want to make sure that we get that out to everybody who has a part in that mass rescue if one actually happened.
What's the dates again? I'm sorry.
August 9th and 10th.
And are you looking at any kind of transportation?
Miami-Dade does want to practice that. They have, I think, 2 facilities that aren't involved in the planning for, the World Cup. that need to put something in exercise. So there's 2 facilities in Miami who are gonna do transports.
Okay.
If you're interested, let us know.
Okay, so we said the coalition is involved and we have the other hospitals, if you need contacts there, so they're already in.
Those dates are September 9th and 10th.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
it's on
that's
my-
what we said, September, yeah, September 9th and 10th. So it's gonna be a
Hi,
pretty
this
large.
is Yvette. Hi, this is Yvette. I understand the Royal Caribbean full exercise at the Port of Miami is gonna be, you said September, not October. I mean,
Yes.
August, correct?
Yes. I'm getting
Okay, who will we need to sign up with?
What's that?
Who will we need to contact to be included?
You can contact me, Charlene, can you put my contact information in the chat so everybody has it? And then you can just shoot me an email and I will give you all of the updates on where we're at moving forward.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much. Any other member comments? All right, public comments. All right, your next LEPC meeting for South Florida region gonna be May 21st.
One minute. I was trying to get my system together. Quick
yep.
question.
Yes.
We passed it by already, but I need to, I guess, reach out with Charlene. We discussed it in the past regarding the lithium batteries and the disposal and commercial things. We were trying to put together a course for our staff. We have a large fleet that we need to look at with this. Because many of our buses are going electrical.
So you're looking for a training?
Yes. She said you had a
Okay.
training, you guys were gonna put together a training course coming up soon.
Okay, sorry, this is not on the agenda, but this is a so the funding in the past has come through Department of Energy by way of the director for the Southeast Florida Clean Cities Coalition. Her name is Alicia Lopez. She works here at the council. Once that funding is in place, and I believe she's thinking maybe summertime. I know there was she was part of a larger grant that is being managed out of Alabama. So really just, you can drop an email and copy Alicia Lopez in the email. We have the same format for email, so her name is Alicia Lopez, Alisha Lopez, Lopez. And she will get that and you let her know about interest and then just copy me on it. Or send it to me and copy her, either way. But once that comes out, we will put that back on the agenda to give an update to everybody. Thank you for asking about that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Yvette. Thank you.
Thank you for the information.
You're welcome. Laura.
Did you see something? Yeah.
All right, any other comments before we jump the gun? All right, your next South Florida LEPC meeting is gonna be May 21st, 2025. Location will be announced. Perhaps we can get into another of our regional partners. If not, we always have a home here at the regional council. All right, so we will be putting that out. And your next state level meeting, the Circle LEPC Training Task Force Quarterly, is gonna be April 17th and 18th, and that will be hosted in St. Augustine for this quarter. All right, that being said, do we have a motion to adjourn? But jump at once. Mr. Zahora, motion, I need a second.
I second Yvette McLeod. Yvette McLeod
Alright,
second.
Thank you.
that is it. Meeting adjourned. Gavel, hammer down.